Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for October 14th, 2024, from the book of Colossians, Canceled Debt, Eternal Freedom. Previously, we heard God brings believers from spiritual death to spiritual life. We learned that this transformation is based entirely on God's forgiveness of all our sins, made possible only through the work of Jesus Christ on the cross. The devotion emphasized that this new life is a present reality, empowering us to live differently in the light of God's grace. Finally, we are reminded of the corporate nature of our salvation, uniting us not only with Christ, but also with all believers. So, let's continue with the book of Colossians. From Colossians chapter 2, verse 14. By canceling the record of debt that stood against us with its legal demands, this he set aside, nailing it to the cross. Now, this verse paints a vivid picture of what Christ accomplished for us on the cross. Imagine a ledger containing every sin, every transgression, and every act of disobedience we have ever committed. This record of debt stands as evidence against us, condemning us before the holy God. The law's demands are clear, and we fall short in every way. But here's the good news. Christ took that ledger, that record of our sins, and nailed it to the cross. In doing so, he canceled the debt we owed. The Greek word here for canceling carries the connotation of wiping out, erasing, obliterating. It is a complete and total removal of our sin debt. This cancellation isn't a mere covering up or temporary solution. It is a permanent erasure of our spiritual death. When Jesus cried out, "It is finished," on the cross, he was declaring that the debt has been paid in full. The demands of the law were satisfied, not by our own efforts, but by Christ's perfect sacrifice. Consider the immense freedom this brings to our lives as believers. We no longer live under the crushing weight of trying to earn God's favor or atone for our sin. The record that stood against us has been set aside, removed from God's sight. So we are free to live in the joy of forgiveness and the assurance of God's love. This truth should transform how we view ourselves and how we approach God. We don't come to him burdened by guilt or shame, but with confidence as his beloved children. Our identity is no longer defined by our failures or shortcomings, but by Christ's finished work on our behalf. Moreover, this cancellation of our debt should inspire gratitude and worship. The price Christ paid to cancel our debt was his own life. He took our place, bore our punishment, and erased our wrongdoings. In response, we are called to live lives of thankfulness, offering our very selves as living sacrifices in his service. So as we go about our daily lives, let us carry with us the liberating truth of this verse. When doubts creep in, or when we are tempted to fall back into legalistic thinking, we can remind ourselves that our debt has been canceled. It had been nailed to the cross, never to be held against us again. In this truth, we find strength to live out our faith with joy and confidence, always pointing others to the one who has set us free. God's peace and many blessings be with you, and thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for listening.